So we've spent a lot of time talking about business and buildings. But in this session, we're going to shift gears from businesses and buildings. We're going to talk about the human truth, because at the end of the day, apart from glass facades and corner cabins, there are also a lot of untold stories of ambition, of creativity, of resilience, and of human connection. And understanding these truths are as important as understanding money and markets. So our next speaker is here to do just that. Now, he has served at the Tata Group for nearly 4 decades, holding leadership roles including brand custodian at Tata Sons, managing director and CEO of Tata Global Beverages, and COO at Titan's Watches and the Jewelry Division. He currently serves on the boards of Trent Infinity Retail, Chroma, and Tata Starbucks, recognized by Forbes as a top global CMO. He has nurtured some of the most iconic brands of India. Talk about Tanishq, Titan, Fast Track, and even Tata Tea. A best-selling author, we know him as a best-selling author of 7 books, a columnist as well, a distinguished alumnus of BITS Pilani and IIM Ahmedabad. Besides all of this, he's also a very passionate foodie and a fitness enthusiast, and we can't wait for him to take the stage and unravel some human truths. Please put your hands together and let's welcome Mr. Harish Bhat. Wow, I love how you're taking the job seriously, sir. Over to you.
Am I audible? Have you all had a good lunch? So, I'm going to talk about office secrets this afternoon. I wrote a book called Office Secrets a few years ago. But they're not the kind of secrets that we have discussed today morning. They're not how you use AI for architecture. They're not geopolitics like Dr. Shashi Tharoor spoke so articulately before lunch. But these are very human secrets. And the first office secret, ladies and gentlemen, that I want to start with, which I think is very important for all of us, is exactly the question that I asked you. Have a good lunch every day. So if you've had a very good lunch every day, and if you've had a good lunch today, the second secret is to keep awake after the lunch. Not easy. And the third secret, which I've also learned, is that is important on work days, but at the end of the week, on a Sunday, equally important for you to disengage from office work. A good secret is to have a nice sleep after a good lunch. How many of you sleep on Sunday afternoons? Oh, very few. The real estate sector does not sleep on Sundays. But let me, ladies and gentlemen, let me start with the kind of human truths that I want to speak about today. And let me start with a story. 2 years ago, when I was the brand head at the Tata Group, at Tata Sons, the brand custodian, I attended the finals of Tata IPL, which was being held at Ahmedabad. How many of you here watch Tata IPL? Few hands. So at the Tata IPL finals, I was in the box watching the game, and I turned my head, and suddenly I saw someone who was very, very familiar in the same box. None of you, I'm sure all of you have heard of him and all of us admire him. I turned my head and I saw Kapil Dev. Kapil Dev, of course, is a big hero of our nation. He lifted the 1983 World Cup for India, India's very first World Cup in cricket. But as soon as I saw him, I thought of my sister. Because my younger sister, who lives in the United States of America, is a huge admirer of Kapil Dev. During her school days, college days, she kept every cutting of Kapil Dev batting, Kapil Dev bowling, his 175 innings, all that put together. So I said, here is Mr. Kapil Dev, why don't I request him for a selfie, which I can send to my sister? So I walked up to Kapil Dev and said, "Sir, मैं एक selfie लेना चाहता हूँ आपके साथ." He said, "What is it for?" I said, "My sister is a huge admirer of yours. It will please her greatly if I send your selfie." So Kapil Dev turned to me and said, "If that is the case, Harish, why send a selfie? मैं आपके लिए एक video record करूँगा. Let me record a video for you. Tell me your sister's name. I will record a video for you." And he took 3 minutes after that to record a video addressed to my sister, saying how much he loves his fans. He knows she admires him. And the next time he will come to the US, he will actually visit her and have a cup of coffee with her. Now, when I sent this video to my sister, she was so amazed. She said, "Harish, this is the best gift you have ever given me. A video of my hero coming to me." That was Kapil Dev's generosity. He didn't need to do it. He's a star of the entire nation, but he took those few minutes to give me the video. And then I put it on social media. It went viral. And 3 days later, I get a call from an unknown number on my phone. I pick up the call, and on the other end of the phone is Mr. Kapil Dev. I cannot believe it. He says, "Harish, आपने ये video डाल दिया social media के ऊपर. It has gone viral. Many people are calling me about it. When I come to Bombay the next time, I want to bring a very special cricket bat and gift it to you." And the next time he comes to Bombay, he actually calls me, tells me which hotel he is staying at, and gifts me a very, very special cricket bat. The first human truth, ladies and gentlemen, that I want to speak to you today is the human truth of generosity. You know, we all talk about strategy, we all talk about vision, we all talk about the ambition that we have. But one of the big leadership truths that you remember is generosity. I will always remember Kapil Dev for the generosity of giving me this video, which I could send my sister in the US. Generosity is hugely underrated. Let me narrate another story to you. Today, I have written many books, but 12 or 13 years back, when I wanted to write my first book, I was a manager in Titan, the company which makes Tanishq jewelry and Titan watches. So I wanted to write my first book. I had no clue of how to write my first book. So I wrote an email to a very senior director of the Tata Group, Mr. Gopalakrishnan, whom some of you have heard at an earlier conference. He was a director of Tata Sons, and I told him, "Sir, I am keen to write a book. Can I come and meet you?" I was not even expecting a response to my email. But within 2 days, I get a response from Mr. Gopalakrishnan saying, "Harish, please come across to my office in Bombay. We can meet." I went, probably thinking it's a courtesy meeting. He spoke to me for 1.5 hours. He advised me on how to write a book, what stories to put into the book. Thereafter, when I was writing the book, he came to the management training center where I was writing it and advised me how to write it correctly, reviewed the book. And finally, when I published the book, he was also kind enough to give me a foreword for the book. This is the kind of kindness and generosity, ladies and gentlemen, that you will never forget. And if I remember Mr. Gopalakrishnan today, I remember him as a great marketer from Unilever and the Tata Group. I remember him as a great director, but I will always remember him always for this gift of generosity. It's one of the reasons that people like me have stayed with the Tata Group for nearly 40 years now, because you have leaders who are exceptionally generous. So as all of you here who are leaders of the real estate sector, think about your companies. The first human truth that I want to put forward before you is that to be generous is to be an extraordinary leader. It's not enough to be ambitious, it's not enough to be successful, but how are you becoming generous to your people is very, very important. But all human truths in offices are not necessarily serious truths. There are some truths which are equally funny, which I have narrated in my book. And one such truth that I should tell you about today is about how you can understand people by watching how they eat biscuits. Now, in how many of your offices, when a meeting is held, are biscuits served? How many of you have plates of biscuits coming to your offices? Let's see the hands go up. quite a few people have biscuits being served. मैंने अभी 40 साल काम किया है, and I've been in thousands of meetings, and in many meetings you have biscuits coming into the office. पुराने ज़माने में biscuits कहा करते थे. Today what do you call them? Cookies. So they are no longer biscuits. We have advanced in life. We now get cookies. So you get various kinds of cookies when you come for a meeting. You get some cashew nut cookies. You may get cookies with cream in them. You may get cookies with chocolate in them. You may get plain glucose, Parle glucose G biscuits. You may get various biscuits on a plate. And what I have noticed, I keep watching what happens when a plate of cookies enters the room. You know, it's very funny. When a plate of cookies enters the room, or when any food enters the room, there is an immediate distraction in the room. Doesn't matter what presentation is going on, but people are very keen to see what is on that plate and how can I help myself. And as I have noticed people, it's very clear to me that not everyone responds to cookies in the same way. You know, you can actually classify people by the way they respond to cookies. You have one set of people, the moment the plate comes on, they will take their favorite cookie from the plate right away. They won't care what others are thinking. My cookies are here, I will take it right away. You know such people? I call them grabbers. And they are very, very important people because they know exactly what they want in life. The moment they see the cookie of their choice, they take it from the plate. Such people are very important to have on your team because they know exactly what is required and they can pick it out immediately. But there is a second set of people whom I call vacillators. They will look at, should I take this cookie? Should I take that cookie? Should I take the third cookie? They will take so much time that they will actually not be able to make up their mind. And by the time they come to choosing a cookie, the plate is probably half empty or full empty. So those people require some training in making decisions very quickly. Third, there is a segment of people whom I clearly call the health fanatic. They are very, very obsessed with their health. You know, when they see a biscuit, they see it through the eye of how many calories does this biscuit have? How much sugar does this biscuit have? They will have half a biscuit. They will have a quarter of a biscuit, leave the rest behind because they are very, very careful about their health. They won't eat the full biscuit also. The fourth person is a very picky eater. Have you seen people when the biscuit plate comes on, they will probably eat only the cream in the biscuit or only the cashews from the cashew cookie. You have such people as well. I can see many of you smiling. I don't know whether you're identifying with that segment or whether you feel someone else is within that segment. But these I call are the picky eaters. They know which part is required and they will only go with that part. Excellent to have such people on your team as negotiators when you go into negotiations for the future. And finally, I've also come across a different segment called the carry bag. Now we come to conferences like this in hotels. Cookies are served in these hotels. End of the day, these are the people who feel, anyway, my company has paid for this conference, so let me take the rest of the cookies away with me. So you have such people as well. So, you know, this is just by observing people who eat cookies. And this is a person who wants to maximize everything in life. They will take every single thing, whether it's cookies, whether it is the accessories left in the hotel room, they would like to maximize everything. Of course, within the legal bounds, they would maximize everything in life. So just by watching the way people eat cookies, ladies and gentlemen, you can make out what the psychology of people is and what they would actually do in other situations. So this is also a human truth. I'm not saying from tomorrow you should observe how people eat cookies in your offices. Please do so if you wish to. But the point I'm making is it's a very good way of understanding human psychology and the way people operate. Now, you know, cookies go well with tea. And for a long time, I used to market tea. I used to market tea brands of the Tata group. Tata Tea, many of you may have heard about, which is a leading brand in India. And then I went on to market jewelry and watches, Tanishq and Titan and so forth. Then Forbes listed me amongst the top marketers in the world. So I thought that I am an expert marketer. Sometimes these things go to your head. And then I saw a newspaper item. I saw a newspaper article which was very interesting. I'm going to ask all of you, how many of you have heard the name of Alim Hakim? One, two, I can see two or three, one hand right at the back. Who is he? Yeah. So I saw a very interesting article about Alim Hakim. Alim Hakim is today, I think, the best known or amongst the best known hairstylists in India. I am told he styles the hair of people like Virat Kohli and people like Ranbir Kapoor and Katrina Kaif. You can go on, celebrity after celebrity. Now, the thing about Alim Hakim is he styles the hair of all these people. But do you know the minimum cost that you pay for a Alim Hakim haircut if you go to him? How much will you be paying? 1 lakh? So 1 lakh is the very minimum that you pay for him. So I studied, how can a man charge 1 lakh rupees for a haircut? He has built a celebrity image. He has built a mystique around him. He services all these celebrities, film actors, sports stars, cricket stars, and so forth. And I thought I had worked out the formula by which Alim Hakim does this. So I went and I told my wife, she's somewhere in this room. I went and I told her, I want to talk to you about this hairstylist. You have to call them a hairstylist, not a barber like biscuits and cookies. We have gone into another generation. So I told her, I want to talk to you about this hairstylist called Alim Hakim. She said, yeah, okay, you speak to me about Alim Hakim. So I told her, here is a hairstylist. He does all these celebrity haircuts and he charges 1 lakh rupees a haircut. And I think I have worked out what is the formula behind his marketing success. So my wife, she turned to me and she said, Harish, this is very good. Very, very good that you're telling me about Alim Hakim, who charges 1 lakh of rupees. But I'll tell you why it's very good. This is very happy news for me, she said. Because she said, do you remember that entire time during COVID, when both you and I were stuck in our house in Parel, in Mumbai? I said, yes, I remember. Was Alim Hakim there? She said, Alim Hakim was not there, but I was there. And every month I was giving you a haircut. And I know your hair better than Alim Hakim. I know how your head works also better than Alim Hakim. So since I have given you 13 haircuts, you now owe me 13 lakhs of rupees. That was my wife's answer. So the simple human truth here, ladies and gentlemen, is I may be an expert marketer, but I was discussing the wrong subject with the wrong person. So whatever is your expertise, you may be real estate experts, you may be a marketing expert, sales experts, but discussing the right topic with the right person is an office secret. If you discuss the wrong topic with the wrong person, you will be caught out like I was caught out. And I am still wondering when I have to transfer that amount to her. But this is what happened of my discussing the Alim Hakim story. But there are other human truths which are serious. Not everything has to be funny like a Alim Hakim haircut or like cookies. At the age of 56 years, when I was the brand custodian at Tata Sons, I am now 62, so at the age of 56 years, I did not know how to use social media. I did not know how to use LinkedIn. Many people in office were talking about LinkedIn. And I was wondering, how can I use this? Because many other brands are using it. Many other brand managers are using it. As the brand custodian of India's largest brand, the Tata brand, is it right that I don't even know how to use LinkedIn? But what do? Do I go and attend a training program? How can I learn? So finally, after thinking about this for a few days, I swallowed my pride and I went to a young member who was of a team who was sitting in the same office. Not part of my team, he was part of some other team. He was in his 30s, I was in my 50s. His name was Harun. I went to Harun's room and I said, listen Harun, I don't know how to use LinkedIn. Can you please teach me? And I had to swallow my ego a little bit because I had been the managing director of a company, I had been a brand custodian. Now I'm going to a 30-year-old person and saying, please teach me something. It was not easy to do that. But fortunately, Harun responded immediately and he said, Harish, don't worry, sit down. I will teach you how to use LinkedIn. On the very first day, he registered me on LinkedIn. On the second day, he taught me how to put a post on LinkedIn. On the third day, he taught me how to upload a photograph on LinkedIn. On the 4th day, he taught me how to respond to comments on LinkedIn. On the 5th and 6th day, he gave me some insights about what a good social media post can be about. And he held my hand for the first 2 months to walk me through how to use a social media platform like LinkedIn. That, ladies and gentlemen, 2 years later, I just followed the formulae that he laid down. But 2 years later, I had learned to use LinkedIn adequately enough, and so adequately that LinkedIn eventually nominated me as one of their top voices in India. Now this, to me, the human truth that I am trying to narrate here is not that I know how to use LinkedIn well. The human truth is that for each one of us who is more than 40 years of age here, I think we need a teacher or a reverse mentor who is in their 20s or their 30s. And it is up to us to go to those people and learn how to do things that we do not know how to do. People in their 20s and 30s are masters of digital. They are digital natives. If 6 years ago it was LinkedIn, today it is artificial intelligence. How many of us use Copilot frequently or use Gemini frequently, like Dr. Tharoor was saying in the morning, or like the speaker early in the morning was talking about AI and architecture? How many of us use AI tools, integrate them into all the work that we are doing? And one of the best ways of doing this is to seek reverse mentoring in your office. In fact, I would say if you're above the age of 40 and you don't have a reverse mentor whom you're learning something from, you should ask yourself the question, do I need a reverse mentor in my office? And it will help you greatly, just like it helped me to learn LinkedIn at that time. But I must move on from LinkedIn and mentoring. And reverse mentoring is a very useful process because the younger person teaches you something and you teach them something back in turn. And both of them benefit from this entire exercise. And I'm sure in each of your offices, there are enough people below this age from whom you can learn. I've actually called it a program in extreme reverse mentoring. I've called it PERM. And each of us should have a PERM from time to time to be updated. And in today's age, where there's a new AI tool being launched every single day or every second day, this becomes even more important. But from reverse mentoring, ladies and gentlemen, I want to move to a subject which is so important for all of us because we spend half our life in this subject. I want to move to the subject of meetings. Is there anyone here who does not attend a meeting? I think we are in meetings for half our lives. And therefore, it is very important to understand why people talk so much at meetings. Do you think people talk very much at meetings? How many of you think people talk very much at meetings? Few hands up. I feel personally that many people talk a lot at meetings. And let me tell you that people don't talk too much at meetings for the same reason. They talk for different reasons. There is one set of people who talks a lot at meetings just to gain visibility with the boss. They want to be seen by the boss and therefore they want to speak. It doesn't matter what they speak about. They may speak about the weather that morning, but they still want to speak to impress the boss with their knowledge. There is a second set of people who speak at meetings to show off their knowledge. For them, I think showing off their knowledge, dropping quotations, dropping names of people they know, something from literature, something from data points, they will do that because they want to be seen as Mr. or Mrs. Know-it-all, and therefore they're constantly speaking to show off their knowledge. But there's a third set of people who speak a lot at meetings just to hear their own voice. There are people who are just in love with their own voice. And because they're in love with their own voice, they keep talking and talking and talking. And sometimes as a chairman of a meeting, I have to find multiple ways of bringing them to a conclusion. There is a fourth set of people who feel they're very humorous, that they're the wit of the party. And they will speak so that others can laugh. They want to make others laugh. And they want to be seen as the wit of the party. Even if the joke falls flat, they will go on very smoothly on to the next joke. And they will start narrating it. And that's the reason why people speak a lot at the party as well. There's a fifth set of people who speak only to criticize others. I have rarely seen them come up with any original contribution, but when they speak, their only purpose is to criticize others in the room. And you have to be very careful of such people because there is very little original contribution that they bring to the table. There is a sixth set of people whom I actually love, who are the quiet contributors. They sit quietly through the meetings. They have one or two powerful ideas to make, one or two good points to make, and they would make those points towards the end of the meeting. And those are very, very valuable people to have within a meeting as well. I have also noticed recently there's an increasing number of, there's a seventh set of people who never talk at meetings. They will come into the meeting, they will sit down very quietly, they will look at what is happening. Occasionally they are on their mobile phone, sometimes they are photographing things that you have written on the whiteboard, but they will never speak. And I'm wondering, what is this person doing here in this meeting? Are they here just to observe? Maybe they're a spy in the meeting. Who knows what they're here for? So the reason I want to break them into all these classifications is that as human truths, ladies and gentlemen, it's very important to know the motivations of different people. And some of this is humorous. When you actually step out and look at it, some of this is humorous, and you're able to get new insights into how you can conduct a meeting or how you can participate in a meeting with equal vigor and equal passion. But meetings take a lot of time and meetings take a lot of energy. It is also very important to know how to recharge after a meeting. Sometimes at the end of a day or at the end of a working week, we get mentally exhausted because the number of meetings there have actually sapped our energy. And I just want to say this, that psychologists have worked out very, very good ways, very important human truths to recharge for the next day or the next meeting. One thing that I have seen very good managers and very good leaders do is that once a day comes to an end, before they leave for the evening, they actually map out what are the big unfinished tasks and how can they plan to complete these unfinished tasks on the next day. And this actually releases your mind from the tension of those unfinished tasks, because the plan is already in place even though the tasks are unfinished. And psychologists say that just planning how to complete your unfinished tasks on the next day before you go home for the evening ensures that your mind is very free of all the travails and all the tensions that unfinished tasks can normally bring you. So that is one way that you can definitely recharge after the meetings for the day. But a second thing that I have seen many successful leaders and managers do is once their day's work gets done, they talk to a friend. On the way home, you talk to a friend, someone unconnected with office completely, takes your mind away completely from the work in the office, the unfinished tasks of the office, the tensions of the office, so that by the time you reach home or whichever is your next destination, your mind is free of those worries. And that is another way that you actually recharge yourself before commencing your next work. A third thing that I have seen, a third very important human truth that I have seen people do is actually take a physical buffer. Give yourself a physical buffer between your work day and your going home or going to your next destination. Some people go to the gym, they hit the gym. Some people play a game of badminton. Some people go for a walk. Some people go for a jog. But giving yourself that physical buffer between all your meetings in your work day to the next occasion actually makes your mind shine before your next task begins. And that is also very, very useful. I have seen yet another set of people who recharge themselves, and I think this is very, very important for each of us, by developing a hobby outside their work. Most successful people I have known who are also very happy in life have at least one hobby outside their main job. Now, you may be a marketer, you may be a financer, you may be a owner of a real estate developer, you may be in any business that you do, but giving yourself one hobby outside of work ensures that you can balance your life very well. Sometimes when things don't go right at work, your hobby keeps you very engaged. And even if things are going right at work, your hobby makes you very, very intellectually active and makes you very vibrant. Your hobby can be running, it can be reading, it can be writing, it can be music, it can be travel, it can be going to the movies. But giving yourself one hobby outside of work is so important if you want to rejuvenate yourself in life. And this is something that I see many of my colleagues doing very successfully, very successful managers, very successful leaders. And of course, in today's day and age, something which is very important to rejuvenate yourself is to disengage digitally. Most of us are on our mobile phones most of the time. And being on the mobile phone does not enable you to disengage your mind. I have heard many psychologists say this, and I have seen this myself of people whom I admire greatly. For 2 or 3 hours, they just don't use their mobile phone. Beyond a certain point in the day, they just put their mobile phone far away. And this is one way by which people disengage, and they're able to sharpen their mind and also refresh their minds by disengaging digitally. So some of these human truths, switching off and recharging, planning for unfinished work before you leave for the day, talking to a friend, building a physical buffer like a gym exercise, a walk or a run, building a hobby, disengaging digitally. These are some things, ladies and gentlemen, which are very, very important if you want to be fresh for your next day or fresh for your next week. These are also some human truths that I have learned. But before I reach the end of my presentation, I want to talk about a topic which you will normally not associate with offices because it holds a very important human truth. And the topic that I want to talk about is the topic of bananas. In India, certainly in our house, I'm not sure in how many of your houses, bananas are one of our favorite fruits. They're a common man's fruit, but they're very healthy, they're tasty, and inevitably in every house, there are bananas which are stocked for the day. So the reason that I'm raising the banana subject is because my wife and I and everyone in our house, we are very fond of bananas. So we live in Bangalore now, and often my wife and I, we walk to a nearby park, and there are fruit vendors there who sell various fruits, and we try to buy bananas from them. Nowadays, fruit vendors have become very, very sophisticated people. You go to a fruit vendor, he will sell you cherries from California at 4,000 rupees a kilogram. They will sell you kiwi fruits from New Zealand at maybe 3,000 rupees a kilogram. They will sell you some wood apples from some other part of the world at 2,000 rupees a kilogram. They will sell you large grapes which come from Australia, also at some atrociously high price. But what we have noticed in recent days is that half the time when we visit these fruit vendors, they don't have good bananas to sell. You should go to a fruit vendor, check it out. Half the time they don't have good bananas to sell. And to me, this is very symptomatic of the kind of work which happens in many of our offices. Many of our offices today give very fancy things to executives. Gym memberships. I have known fancy lunches in offices. Cold pressed juices being given as part of the lunch break. You will find music rooms in offices where people go and they de-stress by listening to music. But those are like the cherries and those are like the kiwi fruits of our offices. The bananas of our offices are simple things like, is your boss being fair? Is your appraisal system being fair? Are people given a good non-toxic work environment in your office? Those are the simple things that people will keep coming back to time and again. And therefore, I think if you consider yourselves not only as office professionals, but also look at yourself through the lens of people who sell these fruits, you will find that stocking up on bananas in office is far more important than stocking up on these fancy fruits. And this is something that I think all of us should bear in mind. So think of yourself not only as managers, but think of yourself also as banana sellers. It will really send the right message to the young people who are working as part of your offices. But I'm coming back, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of my presentation to generosity, care, and compassion. If there is one human truth that I want you to take away from this session, apart from everything else I have said, it is to do with kindness, it is to do with care, and it is to do with compassion. And I want to narrate one last story to you before I finish this presentation on human truths. Because we have spoken just now, we have spoken of generosity, we have spoken of cookie eating, we have spoken about speaking too much in meetings, reverse mentoring. I have spoken of how you can switch off from offices. I have spoken about how each of us need to be banana vendors and not just vendors of fancy fruits. But I must end on one last story about care and compassion. You know, when I was a 29-year-old manager, 29 or 30 years of age, I used to be working with the Tata Group in Mumbai. I used to be in the marketing and sales team. I was a young assistant manager or deputy manager in the marketing and sales team of Tata team. And then I was posted for a couple of years as an executive assistant to the chairman of our company. The chairman of Tata Tea at that time, he was also the chairman of Tata Chemicals and Rallis India. His name was Darbari Seth. How many of you have heard the name of Darbari Seth? Lots of you. So he's no longer alive. He was a legend of his time. He built companies like Tata Tea and Tata Chemicals from scratch, and they are very prosperous companies today. बहुत दिमाग वाले आदमी थे और बहुत sharp भी थे. He built brands like Tata Tea and Tata Salt, which are amongst India's largest brands today. तो 2 साल मैंने उनके असिस्टेंट होके काम किया. And after that, उसके बाद I came back to the marketing and sales team of Tata Tea in Bangalore. Darbari Seth साहब मुंबई में बैठते थे, Bombay House, headquarters of the Tata Group. My house was in Bangalore. I came back to the marketing and sales team in Bangalore. And in 1992, I got married. 1995, my wife and I, we had our first daughter. She is our only daughter. And मैंने दरबारी सेठ को चिट्ठी लिखी कि sir, my wife and I have been blessed with our first daughter. He sent me a letter back. He said, Harish, I am very happy that you have had a baby daughter. My blessings on her. He sent me a check for a gift for my daughter. I showed it to my parents. I showed it to my wife. We were very happy. और मैंने लेटर फाइल कर दिया. He is the busy chairman. 4 कंपनी के चेयरमैन थे. मैं तो I was a deputy manager marketing. I thought the story has ended there. Few months later, 3 or 4 months later, I get a call on my phone. Now this time it was not Kapil Dev. This time it was a senior officer of Tata Coffee. He calls me on the telephone and he says, sir, are you Harish? I said, yes, I am Harish. He says, our chairman, Mr. Darbari Seth, has come to visit our coffee plantations in Coorg. He is on his way back to Bombay and he is passing through Bangalore to take a flight to Bombay. When he is in Bangalore, he would like to drop into your house and meet your baby daughter. Now, I was in office in Yashwantpur in Tata Tea. Okay? मैं यशवंतपुर में कुछ मार्केटिंग का काम कर रहा था. My wife was in Primrose Road near MG Road. She was working in her office. I called her and I said, you know, chairman says he wants to come to our house. अभी जाके sitting room तो ठीक करवाते हैं before he comes. So she said, yes, we will come home. So we came home. We put our sitting room, small house. We put our sitting room in some order. We were living in Jayanagar at that time in Bangalore. And promptly at 3 o'clock, Darbari Seth turns up at our house. He spends half an hour, ladies and gentlemen. He was the chairman of 4 companies. He spends half an hour with my parents, with my father and mother. He holds my baby daughter in his arms. He speaks to my wife and me. He conveys his blessings to my baby daughter. He spends a few minutes with us, and only after half an hour does he leave my house. It's a story which touched my heart, and it's a human truth which touches your heart. Because today, 30 years later, I am talking 1995, today we are in 2025, 30 years later, I don't remember what sales targets I met for Tata Tea in 1995. I don't even remember what bonus Tata Tea gave me in 1995. Of course, I was very attached to my bonus and very attached to my sales targets. Lekin 30 saal baad, I don't remember those things. But I will never forget that the chairman of my company came home to meet my baby daughter, taking time to drive through the traffic of Bangalore and spend half an hour with my parents, my baby daughter and me. And this is not just with me. This has happened with so many people who have worked with Darbari Seth. This has happened with so many people who have worked with Ratan Tata or with Sumant Mulgaonkar or so many other bosses of the Tata Group. And this is one reason, ladies and gentlemen, that people like me, many people have asked me, why have you spent all your 38 years with the Tata Group of your working life? And this is one reason, because your salary and your bonus is very important to you, but what stays in your mind forever and ever is care, compassion, and kindness. So that is the human truth. So that is the human truth that I want to leave behind with all of you. Life is made of balance sheets. Life is made of profit and loss statements. Life is made of ambitions. Life is made of all the glorious buildings that you as a real estate community put up for us in India, and I'm really thankful to you for that. We saw some examples of that this morning. You belong to a hugely successful community which is sitting on the cusp of so much more success to come, given the GDP growths and the development that India is going to take into the future. But life is not made only of balance sheets. Life is not made only of profit and loss accounts. Life is also made of these human truths. Life is also made of generosity, also made of kindness, of care. Life is also made by providing bananas and not just fancy fruits. Life is also made through approaching your juniors and asking for help so that you can learn new things, reverse mentoring. Life is also made because of all these human truths, whatever the cookies or biscuits you eat or you don't eat in office. With those few words, normally when I present about Tata history or I present about the Tata Group or Tata stories. But today, I am very happy that I have been given this platform to speak about simple human truths which can make us very, very happy and very, very fulfilled in life. So I would request all of you to please bear this in mind. And I want to thank CREDAI once again for inviting me to speak at this occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bhat. Please stay with me. It is our absolute pleasure that you were able to join us here. And through the many stories that you told us, you brought us down to the central truth, which is that behind every strategy, every deal, and every success lies the human quotient, the human truth. So thank you very much. May I please request Mr. Shankar Shastri? I beg your pardon. May I request Mr. Suresh Krishnan and Mr. Yoshiyuki Kato to please join us on stage to present a token of our appreciation to Mr. Harish Bhat. All right, let's have another thunderous round of applause for Mr. Bhat.